Morning, everybody. If you can't hear me, shout. Some years ago, our Prime Minister, our guest here today, had the great fortune to purchase one of our products, and he liked it so much he decided he'd like to come back and see how we do it. So I'd like to welcome him here today, and maybe he'll buy something else off us into the future. And we're very honoured to have him, and indeed all our local guests, and the press, and the television. Thank you very much indeed, Prime Minister.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Chris, and I can certainly attest to the durability and hard wearing of your products. They've been put to the test by my children, and they're still standing. I can say that. It's great to be here in Bedford this morning, and great to be here with Richard Fuller, who for the last 5 years has worked incredibly hard for local people, standing up for them in Westminster and serving them here in Bedford. And I very much hope that people in Bedford will return him to Parliament for another 5 years to carry on that excellent work. Here in the east of England, there are 207,000 more people in work than when I became Prime Minister. But what I want to talk about today is, yes, the economy, but the economy not just as statistics, but the economy as people's lives, and what a strong economy means for families in our country. Because at our manifesto launch last week, I said that in British politics today, it's the Conservatives who are the party of working people. And today I want to explain why. I want to set out the dreadful situation we inherited, where in Labour's Britain some of the poorest people faced some of the highest marginal rates of taxation, where couples were spending as much on childcare as one of them took home in earnings, and where quite simply work didn't pay. And I want to set out how we, the Conservative Party, are using all the tools at our disposal, the tax and benefit system, childcare, the minimum wage, all those things to turn that situation around. And this goes to the heart of the country we're trying to build, one based on the principle of something for something, not something for nothing, where those who put in get out, where hard work is rewarded, and where we make work pay. But first, what we inherited. We had a system where, this is complicated, but bear with me, where a single mum working 15 hours and earning £87 a week would have lost 76 pence for the last hour she worked, taking home less money. Why? Because all her benefits would be withdrawn for that extra hour, and she'd have to pay childcare costs on top of that. And she wasn't alone. Think of an out-of-work couple with 2 school-aged children. If the dad started a minimum wage job for 30 hours a week, he would effectively be hit by an 83% tax rate for every extra hour he worked, again because of the rate at which his benefits would be withdrawn. Then there were the parents of a 3- and 4-year-old. The dad earning £15,000, the mum on minimum wage working 30 hours a week. But if she wanted to work even 1 extra hour, she would lose money. That's right, her earnings would be swallowed up by childcare costs, taxes, and losing her benefits. Now that deterred people from work. It stopped them taking on that extra shift or taking on work at all. And they weren't playing the system, they were the victims of the system. The victims of a welfare trap laid by Labour for hard-working taxpayers. Now that destroyed aspiration. It created resentment. And it was never meant to be this way. Welfare was meant to be a safety net, not a web from which no one could escape. So when I hear Labour politicians bleating on about the same old Tories not on the side of working people, I just think some brassneck. It was you who trapped the poor on welfare and widened inequality. Yes, you, Ed Miliband and Ed Balls, who designed these systems that punished the lowest paid. So don't you dare lecture us on poverty. And know this, the true party of working people today in Britain is us, the Conservative Party. That's whose side we're on. Now today, So today I want to spell out the 4 big things that we're going to do to end the scandal of Labour's poverty state. First, universal credit. This is one of the biggest changes in our welfare system since its inception. It rolls a baffling array of benefits into one benefit and ensures that it always pays to work. And rather than clawing back all your benefits the minute you set foot back in the workplace, or the second you clock up an extra hour on the timesheet, it graduates that withdrawal. Why is this so important? Because before, people were frankly scared of doing anything that would jeopardize the income that was supporting them and their family. And what often put that steady income most at risk was, perversely, trying to work. But under universal credit, you can be certain every hour you work is worth your while. Now, it's already available across the northwest of our country. By February next year, all job centres will have it. And let's be clear, Labour have said they will delay it. So there's only one way to make sure we deliver universal credit, and that is by voting Conservative on the 7th of May. Now, second, our rise in the minimum wage. Why is this so important? Because this should be a country where you know that your hard work will be rewarded by a decent, fair amount, and that you're better off in the office, on the shop floor, or at the factory than you would be sitting at home. Now, this year we had the first above-inflation increase in the minimum wage since the crash. Today it's £6.50, soon to be £6.70. Next we'll reach our goal of £7, and by 2020 it's on course to be over £8, and that is actually more than Labour have promised. Now, third, cutting people's taxes, and this is absolutely vital. When we came into office, the personal allowance, the amount you could earn before you start paying tax, was £6,475. Now, we've increased that to £10,600. That's given 26 million people a tax cut. It's taken 3 million of the lowest paid people out of tax altogether. And that goes to the heart of what we Conservatives believe, that hard-working people should be able to keep more of the money they earn, because they, not the government, know best how to spend their hard-earned wages. Now, this has only been possible because we've taken the difficult decisions, we've got the deficit down, we've got our economy back on track. And as we keep on doing that, I'm pledging this: the personal allowance will reach £12,500. That will ensure that everyone on the minimum wage working 30 hours a week does not pay any income tax at all. That's right, it's the tax-free minimum wage guarantee, only under the Conservatives. And that won't just be for now, it will be forever, because we're going to write it into the law of the land. Now, Labour won't do this. In fact, they haven't ruled out doing the opposite, hitting low-paid workers with higher taxes, which I think would be disastrous for so many families in our country. Fourth, childcare. Now, for many people, work didn't pay because the cost of childcare was so high. And that left families with a real sense that they were doing the right thing, bringing up a family, working hard, but being punished for it. So we introduced the 15 hours of free childcare a week for 3- and 4-year-olds and for the families of disadvantaged 2-year-olds. Now, in the next Parliament, we're going to double that for 3- and 4-year-olds. That's right, 30 hours of free childcare a week worth £5,000 to working families. Now, that means over 600,000 extra free childcare places available for families every year. That is effectively 9 million extra hours of childcare a week, and parents able to work an extra 78 days a year without any childcare costs, all by 2017. So if you're a working parent with one child, you can rest assured that by the time they're 3, they'll be able to go to nursery for 30 hours a week completely free. And we have legislated also for tax-free childcare for anything outside that. So if you spend £10,000 on childcare, you'll get £2,000 back for each child. Again, how can we do this? Because we're fixing the economy. Why are we doing it? Because we believe in helping families. Look at Labour's offer: 25 hours a week, 190 fewer hours a year. That means a Labour government will cost working families £830 in childcare alone. And because they're not increasing the rate they give providers, they may not even be able to deliver that. So let's take all these things together and look at the effects, particularly on those examples I gave earlier. That single mum whose last hour of work used to lose her money now not only keeps 62 pence out of the last pound that she earns, she's also the equivalent of £430 better off each month before she takes on any extra hours. Now, this isn't an accident. It's because we brought in universal credit and increased the minimum wage and increased the personal allowance and boosted support for